Hello, this is Brendan Acebo, Associate at Large of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Because of the intensity of a few scenes in today's episode, we don't recommend it for children under 8 years old. And as always, we hope that parents and kids are listening together as a family. I hope you enjoy today's program.
Hi, this is Nathan. Welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Oh, hi there. Welcome to the pod. I'm Dylan James Weaver, but most folks around here just call me Dylan. Why don't you get the whole family together and join us for another exciting episode of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Wow. Wait, try saying Alaskan accent.
Alaskan accent.
Yeah. I feel like that's, I don't know, that's almost...
Alaskan.
Yeah!
Alaskan.
Alaskan accent.
Before the show, so we don't do it.
Yeah, that's true. War. That's the, in Whelmed, they're always trying to say war world.
War.
Yeah, exactly. Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
I'm Andrew Acebo.
Why are you laughing?
The Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
What?
Have you ever seen...
Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam.
You said the Wad Fam. Have you ever seen like Monday Night Football and stuff like that, where they're like, the Ohio State University?
No? That seems wrong.
Yeah. It's a thing that like football players and stuff like that do. Like when they talk about what university they came from or whatever, they're like,
oh, to like add
Mississippi State.
To add like emphasis to it.
Like what?
The one and only Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Yeah, that's what made me think of that.
Oh man.
Welcome back. Hi guys. What episode are we doing today, Dylan?
Oh yeah, we're doing episode 490. This is the Black Veil, part 1.
Yeah, it's Black Mirror and Adventures in Odyssey.
A little bit.
It's close to it.
I think that could describe most of Novacom.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This is gonna be the first episode that we have an intro, because all you kids out there, if you're younger than 8 years old, you need to be listening with your parents. Yeah. And as always, you should be listening with your parents because,
right.
You know,
because this is a family show.
Yes, and huddle around your stereo, your radio, your car radio, perhaps, wherever FM frequencies are transmitted. Please come with everyone and listen.
All right, I can't fully endorse that, but but yeah, I mean, you will have already heard the intro at the beginning of this episode because we did that to match the good old Paul McCusker warning. I think it is significant to notice, or like to state though, that like I think from this point out, is it all? There might be an epised or two that are not, but it's almost all. Yeah, I think it's basically the rest of this album. It's it has the warning on it, which is, I know for me, when I first time listened through, I was like, wow, this is rough. This is happening, because it was on I think I had it on cassette, so it would have been on the cassette, but it wasn't always on the CD. It wasn't on. So they had the parental warning on the radio versions of all the Plan B stuff, but we didn't get the CD version did not include that. Okay, that makes sense. Kind of. Yeah, not really, because then they do include it here. Yeah. But also, yeah. Sometimes not. I guess. Yeah, I also threshold like I'm really curious what the threshold is, because it might just be part of like where I'm at, and all of it seems totally like pretty appropriate. Yeah. But which I guess the bar is 8 years old, so like say, yeah. That's a lower bar than like Lego Star Wars the video game. I guess. So was that E10 plus? That was E10. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Why? I don't know. I guess because you were like hitting things with lightsabers. You weren't even like slicing them. You were just hitting them. Yeah. There were blasters, which are guns. I don't know. Yeah. So this album has a parental warning. This episode does, and most of the rest of the album. we were contacted to tell us in the last episode when we were discussing the lack of alcohol in Odyssey.
Yes.
It was pointed out both that definitely implied, if not outright stated, Connie's dad is an alcoholic.
Oh, yes. I do know that.
Which is a thing we didn't note. And also, when the Barclays moved to Pokenberry, Pokenberry Falls, Donna has like a really big arc
with booze, right?
Yeah.
And does she smoke too?
Maybe. I mean, smoking seems to be more of a theme because they also have the Nick stuff.
Yeah, Nick smoking.
But
yeah, like, wow.
Yeah.
You're right. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, so we were we were discussing in the last episode that it isn't really a thing that was touched upon, but then Brendan pointed that out, and yeah.
I would say the point still remains, though. If it's like 2 instances across God knows how many episodes of
he does know.
Yeah, he does know. He's right. Wow, that's so, like...
Yeah.
I guess, I mean...
Yeah, but...
Did those episodes have parental warnings? Because I feel like if we're dealing with alcoholism, that's a little bit more serious.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to listen to... Maybe we'll cover Pokenberry stuff at some point. I don't know. That's an interesting...
I'd be fine with
an
it.
interesting era.
I enjoy Odyssey in almost all of its forms, and the forms that I don't enjoy, I can make fun of, so it's fine.
Yeah, that is basically the premise of the podcast.
Exactly.
Before we get too far into anything, here is the promo.
On the next Adventures in Odyssey, things are out of control.
You make me a sundae, you leave off the nuts, okay?
What was that all about?
A disturbance? What do you mean?
I mean, he heaved the TV through his front window.
Dumb dishwasher! So it's rabies or something. Walter, what's going on here?
People are angry, hurtful. I infected the entire city.
It's a Black Veil experience on the next Adventures in Odyssey.
What does "it's a Black Veil experience" mean?
Can
we unpack that?
It's a Black Veil experience. It's a Death Wish experience.
It's a Black Veil experience?
It's a Scully skull experience.
In case you guys missed it, Scully is a skull.
So, that was an intro. The background music was okay.
Yeah. We're
like
back.
It's getting better.
We're back to like Novacom music.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The thing of note that finally clicked for me when we were editing the last episode is the promos are always exactly 30 seconds. Which means that sometimes the music at the end just goes on for too long.
That makes sense.
Like, the guy stops talking and they're just like...
Sounds like a plane flying overhead.
It's like, wow. Yeah.
That makes sense. Also, I feel like if they're going to be 30 seconds, can't you plan it to do that? I don't know.
Nope.
Pull mildly longer clips?
Nope.
Yeah. It's worth noting. I mean, it's definitely intense. It's definitely, like, probably one of the more intense intros. Definitely more than, I think, Under the Influence.
Yeah, the Under the Influence issue was... The Under the Influence promos were very just like, there's something wrong with Aubrey.
Yeah.
This change will leave her different forever, or whatever it says.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was like, and she'll be changed forever.
She will never be the same again, because she's gonna be a Christian at the end, not because she's, now has a criminal record.
Yeah, which we don't really... Do we talk about that at any point ever again, that she has a criminal record?
Who knows?
The Adventures in Odyssey episode in which Aubrey can't get into college because she has a DUI.
Even Campbell University's turning her down.
Don't you mean Campbell County Community College?
Oh, you're right, I do.
We call it Campbell University because it makes more sense.
Yes, Andrew. I realize.
Okay. So the episode starts off with in Wit's End with Alex freaking out about getting nuts on his Sunday.
Yep.
Is it Connie that's behind the counter?
It's Nick.
Oh, it's Nick that's behind the counter.
Yep.
And it's pretty busy from the background noise.
Yeah, definitely a bustling day.
They're understaffed as usual, so.
I don't know that they are understaffed.
I guess now that they have Aubrey.
Well, they don't have Aubrey. They fired her.
Oh, that's right.
But Connie and Whit are both in the store.
That is also... What are they doing?
I don't know, but they are within earshot.
Yeah. He's just dying up there.
Because Whit comes out to, like, break things up.
Yeah. What do you think what is the... I just wrote a paper for sociology on social structure, and it's like, I wrote it about my job and, like, the different tiers and stuff, and, like, Connie's above Nick, right?
Yeah.
And Whit's above them.
Right.
Where does, like, Jack and Joanne then, like, where do they fit in?
They're... So...
Are they Nick level? Are they Connie level?
Well, Jack and Joanne were filling in for Whit.
So they're
But like, they don't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
In any official capacity. Eugene is... I think literally the hierarchy in there is just based off age. Purely age-based.
That checks out. That's upsetting.
Eugene's above Connie when if Tom fills in, he's suddenly the one in charge of everything.
And Whit, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is odd because if Whit is somehow ageless and then Tom dies as a character.
Oh. Yeah.
Does he actually die in the show?
He dies as an actor.
Yeah, I know.
They then re-engineer his lines for a while.
Ugh.
So they use old audio to redo lines, but I think they did eventually acknowledge, like, it kind of got to a point where it was like, we either have to acknowledge that he's dead or recast him, and I think that they do officially acknowledge his death, but I don't know for sure, because I'm not up to date with Odyssey.
Yeah. When did his actor die?
I don't remember.
It was a while back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they did kind of what they did when they did the transition for the first Whit, where he's just, like, never around.
Yeah. Or Eugene in Novacom. He's not dead.
Right.
He's just not here.
Yes. Except in that instance, Will Ryan did not die.
He was on Nickelodeon. Right? Wasn't that what he was doing? Did you find that out?
Yeah, he might have been. He was doing a bunch of stuff. Because he was also doing A Land Before Time. And
was he Land Before Time? Petrie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That makes me happy. I love Land Before Time.
Yeah.
Anywho, so Nick is like, yeah, so Alex is freaking out.
That Nick put nuts on his Sunday.
Which, makes sense to a certain extent, but he's clearly just, like, completely out of character freaking out. And
oh, yeah. You make me a sundae, you leave off the nuts! Okay? Yeah. That okay really diffuses things.
Yeah, okay?
It's like, no, you end with you leave off the nuts.
Yeah.
And okay?
Then, yeah. We leave an exclamation point. Well, I think maybe it's meant for, like, sass, perhaps. Like,
yeah.
Can you comprehend this? I will have a histamine reaction and die. Or no, anaphylactic. Anaphylactic reaction and die if you give me nuts.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Histamine is hives.
Ah. Okay.
So
yeah. Alex is just being mean about the whole nut thing that Nick forgot. Mm-hmm. Nick is not handling it tactfully at all.
No, he's kind of jarring with him. Like
he's pushing back.
Yeah.
And then Whit shows up, is like, okay, Alex, you just need to, like, chill out or leave. He's like, fine, I'm leaving. I'll go get my sundaes somewhere else. And as he walks away, Nick yells... Nick yells, make sure they remember to leave off the nut, or don't forget to tell them about the nuts.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah.
So good.
Be a little bit more tactful when you're working,
right. Dear God, I have dealt with so many annoying customers. I don't think I've ever talked back to them like that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he doesn't get more backlash for it.
Yeah. But it's supposed to accent how horrible Alex is being, so I guess we just kind of breeze past it.
And then it cuts to Jason in Alaska, correct?
Well, Whit does mention that he's going to have to talk to Alex's parents.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Alaska with my favorite transition, like, setting the tone for where we are and everything, is this newscaster who goes, for your southern Alaska forecast, we have snow and cold. Yeah. And he like laughs through it. And it's so it's so funny of like they just had some guy improv it and then they just took the first take. Yeah. And it's like kind of in the background of this like bustling airport and stuff, but it's so funny.
Well, I can't imagine it's that bustling of an airport.
Well, yeah.
It's so good though.
Right. Well, and all airports kind of sound loud.
It's true. They do.
Regardless of how many people are in them.
It's all the birds. Birds in the airport. That's from something. I don't remember what it is though.
I mean, birds in an airport is a legit thing. There's also that when John Mulaney's doing his horse in the hospital, and he's like, "We've got an expert who once saw a bird in an airport."
That's what it's okay. Thank goodness.
If only you and I had different reference bases, we could slip some of this by. But we consume the same content.
It's true. Like, almost exactly. You just watch a little bit more television, and I watch a little bit more YouTube, and that's about it.
Yeah. So Jason is talking to
some guy from a church. I
forget
his name.
I do too. But he basically shows up, and this is
Walter.
Walter, that's right. If you're listening to just the Novacom stuff, this is your first introduction to Jason.
Yeah.
In case it wasn't obvious, he's Whit's son.
And God Jr., apparently. As is proven in this.
So yeah, at this point, he's kind of hung up his hat as being the secret agent guy, and he's now working for a missions board, still traveling all over the place because we can't have him in every episode. And so we get
from Guatemala, right?
Yep, which are episodes on the previous album or the one before that.
I think it was
two albums ago.
It was,
on Danger Signals. Yeah, is him in Guatemala.
Which is like that. Those are good 2-part episodes.
Oh yeah.
I'm sad that it's not on a Novacom series, just because it's like they deal with like rebels and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did think about covering it, and then we already have so many episodes to cover. Maybe we'll do a bonus later and go back on it, or
forever.
I mean, that's basically where we're at now.
We could just do anything or everything or nothing.
Yeah, we have so much power because we don't have an audience of people demanding that we do stuff.
It's true. We don't have a deadline, but we kind of do.
Yep. Every Tuesday, 4 a.m.
Is it really 4 a.m.?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Episodes published at 4. All right. Guatemala.
Jason's not in Guatemala. He's
right.
in Alaska.
He's just flying into Alaska.
He's talking to Walter.
Have we met
Walter before?
I don't know. So they do a really good job of setting up like, this is...
He's been here before.
Right. This is a place that Jason's been and like a community he's had a role in and all of that stuff, but it's not as though we've actually seen it. It's all just referencing stuff we haven't done.
It's incredibly expositional in a lot of ways, but
it's done well.
Yeah.
Though it doesn't feel totally expositional.
Because you are just in this situation, he's catching up Jason as well as the audience, so it makes sense.
Yes,
the dialogue
exactly.
like that. Everybody's angry, like. What is it? Something like board meetings are turning into wars or something like that. And
So basically, the missions board contacted Jason to come back here because
they're having problems.
They're having issues with the church. I guess it's implied Jason helped them set up a radio station.
Oh, okay.
Helped the church set up a radio station when he was here last, and
didn't he do that in Guatemala too?
I think so.
Wow,
that might be part of his. Well, it's a radio show. And but there's reference then to Jason kind of mentions like, oh, the radio station sounds great, and Walter's like, yeah, that's not the reason you're here. We're just having a lot of issues with kind of drama. And
they said there's one thing that was worth noting, and I guess this is kind of a self-explanatory thing, but they said Sunday school teachers were arguing about who got to use the chalkboard.
Yep.
And I didn't grow up having a chalkboard in Sunday school, So that as a concept is very odd to me. And so my question was, is it normal to have chalkboards in Sunday school? Like before whiteboards, did they just have chalkboards?
I assume so.
I guess. For I suppose the same purpose. I never really used the whiteboard in Sunday school.
But this is, I mean, think about when this show's coming out. Chalkboards are still early 2000s. Like the elementary school I attended, which was built brand new from like 2005 to 2006, had chalkboards in every classroom.
Yeah.
So
we had chalk.
So this is squarely in the chalkboard era.
I think we had half and half. I think we had chalkboard, whiteboard, and then we had smartboards in some classrooms.
Oh yeah,
smartboards, man, those are great.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, I don't know if they're better now, but.
So it then comes out that Jason is staying with the Merriweathers instead of the Beckers
because they're having problems with their kid.
Yep.
And then Jason's like, "Wait, Mark? Like Mark was an angel." And
yeah.
Like, nope. He got suspended twice in a week.
Yeah, something like that. He's been getting into some trouble at school and just been rough at home.
Yeah.
And yeah. So he's staying at the Merriweathers, who are out of town.
But an entire town. This is what we have.
And then we cut back to Odyssey.
Yeah.
This is Alex's mom on the phone with Whit.
Yeah.
Talking about how he's been kind of off. He was grounded. He wasn't even supposed to be at Whit's End.
Yeah.
And also hitting on the fact that she thinks this kind of all started when
he spent the night, right?
Yeah, in Odenton with a friend named Scott.
Yeah. I think it was.
Yeah, Scott, because she says Scott's a bit wild at times. And so she thinks that Alex... Yeah, she thinks that he was just maybe a bad influence on Alex, and that's kind of holding over until now.
Which... All right.
Yep.
Parents. Cool.
Then we jump back to Alaska. It's one of those episodes, guys.
Yeah. We have two main plots and nothing else.
Yeah. So this is Jason arriving at the house.
Yeah.
Sam is there to install a cable box.
Like Sam has an odd accent.
Yes.
It's like Canadian, but not.
Yeah.
It does sound like...
It's like Canadian but with a lisp.
Yeah, it's with a lisp and also like country.
Yeah.
Like is there like redneck Canadians and do they sound like redneck Americans?
I don't know.
Question for the listeners for the Wadham Chalk Squad. Y'all know.
Never letting that go.
It's the problem is it's too good not to use, but it's too bad to feel good when I use it. So I'm in a very hard situation here.
Yeah, no, that does sounds really rough for you there, Andrew.
I should pray about it.
Yeah,
There's only one thing to do in this situation. Get on our knees and pray. There you go.
All right, and then
he's installing the cable box.
He's installing the cable box, and
400 channels.
Yes, are any of them good? Like 3.
Yeah.
And then this is Walter shows back up after dropping him off to say that that they need to go over to Mickey and April's.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut back to Odyssey, where Alex is waking up from a nap.
Yeah, he fell asleep on the couch in the middle of the afternoon, which his mom says, you haven't done that since you were like, 6?
Yeah, stop nap shaming Alex.
Naps are great. I take a nap almost every day.
Yeah, naps are...
But the thing that I find is interesting, because then it's clarified later that Alex, his mom tells him to go upstairs and go to bed, or something like that. And he's like, no, I don't actually want to sleep. I've been having bad dreams.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, how did he fall asleep on the couch in the first place? It was in the middle of the afternoon. Presumably he didn't sleep all the night before.
Right. That's I think is what the implication is, is that he stayed up or got very little sleep and then just like fell asleep now.
Yeah.
His mom also references the fact that Scott's sick.
Yeah.
Because there's apparently something going around Odenton.
The Odenton bug.
Yes, sir.
Which is worth mentioning. This is the second time Odenton is brought up. The first time was in the Plan B 4-parter or whatever. They're talking, I think it's Monica Stone's talking to Mr. Charles, which I almost called him Ray Charles again. Not Ray Charles. And he says, we don't want a repeat of what happened in Odenton.
Okay.
So I think it's
that is definitely worth bringing up.
Something sketchy.
Yes. Now we jump to Nick demolishing a dishwasher.
It sounds like he's throwing it. Like the first soundbite is like, like I can only imagine he picks it up and just chucks it.
It is so much sound. I cannot believe it.
I don't understand. Like, is it anything other than what makes it sound like it's not completely broken at this point?
Yeah.
But it sounds like it was full of china plates and he threw it.
Yeah, a little bit. So he's just mad, destroying the dishwasher.
Never get this dishwasher to work.
Yeah. Whit kicks him out, says, go cool off,
Yeah.
whatever. And then Connie and Whit are talking, and Connie makes a joke of like, oh, maybe he caught it from
what Alex has.
From what Alex has, and Whit says, maybe. And Connie's like, no, I was joking. And I'm like, Whit, you have no reason to believe this.
You have a store in Connellsville that we know nothing about what's going on, and yet you're like, I have a hunch.
I have a hunch that anger is contagious.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Well,
it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those things that's like when, I don't know, the things I think about in like superhero movies or that sort of thing, when like someone sees someone with superpowers and how that doesn't just like completely melt their mind and like change everything about the way they live. And it's like, why are you just like so quick to accept like, oh, that, maybe anger is contagious, and not like, I don't know, the fact that he goes for like, oh, maybe this is like a physical ailment of anger, whereas like if he had been like, oh, maybe there's some spiritual stuff going on, I would have been like, okay, that I buy.
Or just like, maybe I should talk to his parents about what's going on at home, or stuff like that. Like, not like, has he eaten, the E. coli lettuce or something like that? Like, whatever.
Shout out to the E. coli lettuce. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Guess he works in the food industry. But yeah, it's an odd conclusion to jump to. I guess, he's God, and also we need to like move the plot forward.
Yeah.
But do we really? Like, only to get him there to find out that he's been watching TV, which is what we find out. He goes and visits Nick's family.
Yep.
On the farm, and they're outside talking, and he says, well, he has been spending a lot of time in his room in the basement. They got a TV down there, and that's really it. And then their neighbor drives into their barn.
Yeah, there's actually, we cut back to Alaska before we even hit that.
You're right.
No worries. We don't have to go purely chronological. But there's a lot to unpack on both ends here.
That's true.
So Walter and Jason go over to Mickey and April.
Yeah.
April's in the driveway emptying out all of Mickey's crap from her car.
Yeah. Which, how much crap does he have?
I don't
in the
know.
car?
I don't know. It sounds like he's...
Stuff.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like she's moving out. But she's mad that he said her eggs were dry, and she's done with him, and she's leaving, and she's going to stay with her mom, her sister, something like that. April being voiced here by Melissa Disney of Monica Stone fame.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I did not know that.
Yep. And then we cut inside to Mickey.
Who is Wooten.
Yep. Jess Harnell back at it again.
Voicing somebody and sounding like Wooten a little bit.
Yeah, this one's not great.
He comes back in later as somebody else in the episode.
And that one's much better.
Yeah, where it makes me wonder, like, why is
Mickey so wootin'? But it's okay. It might just be that Alaskan accent.
So his eggs were dry, and so he threw them at her.
Yes, and now he is smashing vases and lamps and vases and lamps and.
Worth noting, I just realized this now because he said that they broke the yolk.
Right.
But he threw the eggs at her.
Yep.
If he just threw the eggs at her, which in my head he did.
Right.
She must have really overcooked them and broke the yolk. Because
Why?
I'm thinking like Puck's situation.
Oh.
They're hard. Because I've broken yolks and like making overlight eggs, but you can't get your hand under there and throw them unless he just threw the whole plate.
Or just like catapulted like a skillet.
Ah.
Like you do the wash. Yeah, I feel like he was too mad to do anything that deliberate. But
I just imagine him like, this is the final time I'm gonna throw these eggs at her. Picks up plate, calculates trajectory.
Yeah.
Remember what you learned in fly fishing lessons.
Oh yeah. There is a reference to ice fishing, not fly fishing, but the other kind.
Yeah.
But he's so calm and collected, and then just flips to angry on a dime. Like he's just kind of like, oh yeah, she's not really leaving. Like it's fine. I don't care.
I mean,
and then he's like, I'm gonna kill you. Like
who would have bought that vase? Which do people buy vases? Like just casually? Like wow, I really like that vase.
I mean, it used to be a thing.
I guess. I feel like that's a trope in shows that I've never really seen transfer to real life.
Yeah, they're just a good thing to break.
I guess.
Because they've got worth, but they're
windows, I guess.
Yeah.
Like some sort of personal attachment. I don't know.
Right.
Some artistic expression in vases.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's pretty unsettling.
Yeah, it really is. The voice acting's very good. And like just how it switches from like kind of denial to what's going on and like, oh, it's fine. Well, these things happen to being like, she is a she-devil and she's the worst and she's a National Merit Scholar and I'm only a park ranger and I want to be a church treasurer.
That's
and it
right.
Just explodes.
Yep. It's like every little thing that has gotten to him is now just like surfacing.
Which is different because later when the other guy freaks out in Alaska,
you're talking about Sneed?
Yeah, Sneed. When Sneed freaks out, it's one thing.
Yeah.
Maybe multiple occurrences of one thing.
Yeah.
But it's only one distinct cause.
Yeah. It's just general deep-seated anger.
Yeah.
That comes up.
Compounds.
Yeah. And then so they're taking him to the hospital.
Yes. Yeah. You come with they're going to the hospital.
Yeah.
Because he breaks the vase.
Oh yeah, he starts throwing a tantrum, and the sound engineer must have been having a real good time. There's stuff breaking left and right.
Yeah, presumably whole house.
Yeah, whole house just picked up, thrown down, broken.
Yeah.
And so this is when we go to the Mulligans. Which is he dropping Nick off, or is he just visiting?
I think he's just visiting.
Okay, so he just decided to trek out there to visit.
Because he doesn't have anything better to do, apparently.
Yeah, and so it comes up that Nick now has a TV in his basement. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, he is definitely dropping Nick off.
You sure about that?
Because it sounds like Nick just arrived home, because Nick's like, I'm just going to go downstairs and sleep. And he's like, don't watch any TV. And he's like, I wasn't going to, right? Nick's actually in the conversation. Okay. I think we actually...
I think you're right.
If I'm not, you guys know how to contact me.
And you have.
Indeed.
You guys are doing great. Yeah, and so they talk about having a TV down there. He spends a lot of time watching TV, which obviously, I suppose, links to what's going on in Alaska a little bit. And then, so they're just there talking about it, and he's like very confused. Don't they mention? The wolves are in Alaska, right?
Yeah, that comes when we go to the hospital.
Okay.
He mentions that they're calling this the Odenton bug. Yeah. That the kids are in the school system for Odenton.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only thing that kind of bums me out here is that we don't even get like I get not bringing back voice actors, but I would have loved if Whit had even just mentioned Tony and Brianna.
Yeah.
Because they are staying with the the Mulligans are fostering them.
Yeah. And they're not even acknowledged.
Right, and Whit was like at one point going to adopt these children.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that they're not, that there's no reference to them.
I guess that's probably just to not distract, or maybe, wasn't really not thought of at the point in time. But it would make sense because at this point in time, the conversation, the key information is presented. It kind of de-escalates a little bit, and then you hear Mr. Sneed, which sounds like somebody from a Dr. Seuss book.
Yes, very much so.
Mr. Sneed is coming up. Mr. Sneed and a Thneed is driving too fast. He's like, does he always drive that fast? And he drives through a fence. Right?
Yep, Mike's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's my neighbor. That's Mr. Sneed.
He's going through. Does he always drive that fast? And then he drives through the fence.
I love it that Mike doesn't call him by his first name. They're both adults.
Yeah. Mr. Shepherd. Mrs. Shepherd. Mr. Mulligan. Wait, is this... Do we know Mr. Mulligan's first name?
Yeah, it's Mike.
No, it's Mr. Mulligan.
Oh, my bad.
And then Mr. Sneed drives through the barn. Or into the barn.
Yes.
The side barn. Presumably.
Mm-hmm.
A panel... Because the whole thing doesn't come down.
Yes.
Presumably.
He didn't hit a pillar of the barn, just part of the paneling.
What kind of car is he driving that he can just drive through a barn and then get out?
I don't know. Range Rover? Jeep?
Or, spearheaded, something or other? He's got the Batmobile.
Yes.
I guess that will probably be able to do it. But yeah, so he just gets out and then kind of walks home, right?
Yep. And then Whit and Mike go... after him. The police get involved.
They kick in the door.
Yeah, they kick in the door because he's not answering. Walk around. I don't know.
Presumably the house is entirely filled with broken glass.
Yeah.
Doesn't the police guy have to break the window to get in or something like that?
I think...
Or they kick it in?
I think he kicks in the door. There's a window break, or there's a glass breaking, and then he kicks in the door.
Yeah.
I think as a result of that glass breaking. Which it sounds like somebody jumping through a window. It turns out it was just probably another vase being smashed.
Of all the vases that he has?
Yeah.
Or just china plates he's clapping together?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
As one does. And they comment that everything in the house is destroyed.
Yeah.
Which is concerning. He's just sitting in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Turn off the TV. He's
barely
conscious. Yeah.
Yeah. He's delirious for sure.
Yeah.
And then...
with a question mark.
Yeah. And then... So they find him there. He's delirious. He's talking. They ask him why his house is destroyed. Or what's going on. And he says, oh, thank you, officer. You're here. His animals were in my yard again. I'm afraid of Mulligan's animals. Because apparently they have tons of animals. Which we know this.
Yes.
But again, it's odd that they have don't they have an ostrich?
I think possibly. I think so. They've got a lot of animals.
Yeah. Anyway, his animals are in his yard again, and so they ask him why did you destroy your house and stuff like that, and he's like, I couldn't help it. You destroyed your house because his animals were in your yard. He's like, and he's kind of draws a blank. He's like, I couldn't help it.
Yeah. Yep.
And at this point, do we then cut back to Alaska?
Yeah, we're now going back to Alaska, because we've got
Jason and Mickey in the hospital, right?
Yeah, and Walter's there as well, but they've admitted Mickey, and the doctor's talking to Jason, just kind of I'm glad you brought him here, not the police station. The psychiatrists have been dealing with a lot of this.
Yeah.
And
this is the hospital psychologists have been very busy recently or something like that, I think.
Yeah, and Jason asks if it's rabies, and they are like, no, if it was rabies, he would be dead by now, but the symptoms are pretty similar.
Yeah. Which is interesting.
Yes.
how would it... No, yeah. I mean, rabies is an internal thing, and this is supposedly a mental thing.
Yeah.
Right,
as evidenced by the psychologist. Because it doesn't seem to be being... It's not like it's being treated as a physical ailment.
No, it seems like it's treated as, like, these people have emotional problems.
Right, which is then interesting when we cut back to... Not that we, like, necessarily at this point are like, oh, this is connected to Odyssey, but, like, obviously it is.
Yeah, obviously it is a little bit. There's linked events.
But we don't have Wit being, like, Wit's not, something about Wit, and, Wit's whole thing about, like, well, maybe they caught it, but now it doesn't seem like it's a physical ailment, so Wit might be wrong.
So they're in the hospital, and then he's talking to the doctor. The doctor catches him up on everything that's happening, and then...
Officer Stern shows up.
Yeah, Officer Stern also. Wooten.
Yep, Jess Harnell. Second time this episode. Fourth character I think we've noted in the series.
Yeah. And he voices more characters before it's over.
Oh, yeah. He's quite the guy. And so he's like, are you Jason Whittaker? Like, Sam Worthington, or not Sam Worthington.
Sam Witherspoon?
Maybe? I don't know. Sam has been asking about you.
Yeah. It doesn't say...
no last name.
No, Sam Hitchcock.
Oh, Sam Hitchcock has been asking. Yep. Has been asking about you, which is nuts. Because we then find out that, like, Sam's at his house.
Yes.
So this police officer found Jason at a hospital.
Small town.
Recognized him, like, by his face, hospital? And then, it sounds pretty big.
Yeah, and for everything that's happening, doesn't this guy have other stuff to do?
Oh, yeah. Oh, the one thing we missed when we were talking about the disease is that there was a pack of wolves that were infected.
Yes.
And then they found that same infection in...
Cats, right?
Cats, maybe. And so they're thinking it might be transferred like that.
Yeah.
Worth noting.
Yeah, that's from the police officer, correct? Or is that from... No, that's from the doctor that Jason's talking to. Right. And then they go to Sam's house. And do they show up as he's throwing the TV through his window, or is it...
I think the TV is already in his yard.
Yeah. But it sounds like there's glass breaking, isn't there?
Yeah, there's always glass breaking, man. This episode is all glass breaks.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody want to take count as how many times? Oh, that's so many.
It's such a distinct sound for an audio show. It's an easy go-to.
That makes sense. A lot easier than, like, furniture being toppled.
Yeah. So Sam also seems to be, like, falling apart here, and he's talking about. He's like, I brought the disease.
Yeah, I infected the entire
city. And he says something about the box. He's like, and just like, you already threw the TV in the yard, and he's like, it's not enough. You can't turn it off.
Yeah. And then he's like something like, let's take you to the hospital or something like that, and he's like, you're treating the symptoms, but
ignoring the disease.
It's seeping into the very molecules of our brains?
Of our being, I think.
Being.
Yeah.
And then the episode comes out, exits with, the disease will destroy us all.
Yep.
As his crazed.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh
yeah.
That's distressing.
Very, very ominous.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's rough. I mean, it's a very abrupt ending. Like.
Yeah.
I never quite realized it. I mean, this is my second time listening through it, and both times I'm like, it's over.
Yeah, it definitely ends pretty quickly.
Wait a minute.
What?
There's a scripture for this episode?
In Chris's wrap up? There always is. Like every time she does a wrap up. There's no wrap up on the album version of this though. It's just on the It's just on the radio version.
Galatians 6:9, which I'm intrigued to see what it is.
Okay.
I just noticed. I've never noticed that on the wiki, but I guess it wouldn't show up on the mobile, maybe.
I think it shows up regardless.
Oh wow. Okay. So let us not grow weary in doing what is right, for we will reap at harvest time if we do not give up.
Yep.
That seems not directly linked to this, but okay.
Welcome to plot-driven episodes, Andrew.
I guess. Well, I just don't know why they have it in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would like to say, like, thoughts on this episode, but it's very clearly not a full episode.
Yeah, I don't know. My thoughts are basically just like, Jason, great. Love him as a character. Love having him here. I love how they hammer home, like, his connection to this community in Alaska.
They do a really good job.
Like,
of that.
Sam,
Kind of
when
creating
Sam
an
shows
Odyssey
up,
parallel.
who is just like the cable guy, they like, he knows who he is, and they're like chatting, and it's really good.
Shooting the breeze, as it were.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And I think that the voice acting is really good, especially because the characters are behaving so distinctly differently. It, like, you definitely get, like, a very unnerved sense.
Oh, yeah.
Something is not right here. That's definitely worth noting. The music's really good in this episode because the transitions are different, and the transition music is different in Alaska than it is in Odyssey. I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
And it's unique music, too. It's, like, some kind of blend of the, like, counter moves, Novacom music, and, like, some of, like, the country, like, bluegrass twang that they've used.
Yeah. Yeah, there's good things happening.
Yeah.
Happening in this episode.
Really excited to get into Black Veil Part 2.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. This does... we're laying a lot of groundwork. So, tune in next week for the payoff.
Exactly. I don't have anything in front of it.
You know, Andrew's got no plugs. Last week, he plugged an episode of his podcast that, at the time of this recording, has not come out yet because he's a jerk.
I'm the worst. You can email me mean things. Just send them to the wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. And
Yep. There is no "the" in our email, but
wadfamchalkpod.
gmail.com. But yeah, I am also promo free right now. I won't have anything. This is
a hot moment.
Yeah. But I don't know. Enjoy your week, listeners. I don't know. Is this the thing I'm gonna say now?
Spring break.
And we will be back in a week to discuss The Black Veil Part 2. Bye.
Bye.
Wadfam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Cooperative. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at wadfamchalkpod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Episode 19, The Black Veil Part 1, was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Sabo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us next time for more of the Wadfam Chalk Pod.